Last week we reported on a story that the Maryland Senate voted to override Governor Hogan's veto of Senate Bill 208. Now, for our viewers who don't know what that is, that requires background checks on rifle and shotgun sales, and this bill would actually also close a loophole where firearms cannot be sold between people at online or at gun shows. Now, we posted this story on our Facebook page. We got mixed comments on it. A gun dealer actually said there's enough gun laws on the books to regulate sales. Tell us why it was important for you to override Governor Hogan's veto of this bill.
So at the end of the day, I would say, I grew up in a family with a grandfather who had a hunting farm in West Virginia, or a plot of land that was a hunting farm. I learned how to shoot a gun at probably 6 years old, and grew up in a family of hunters. I understand where sportsmen and those who own firearms can feel at times as though that we should be focusing our lawmaking. But I think it's really essential that gun owners and non-gun owners alike have the same value. And that is, we do not want firearms getting into the hands of people who intend to use them to commit crimes, to hurt others, to scare others, to steal property. And so what this provision does is it applies the law equally to say that for transfers of firearms, there should be a background check, because we don't want people who are intending to create chaos and havoc and harm to have access to firearms. The committee worked really hard on this bill last year to make sure that it was not overly burdensome. And while I know there were still frustrations out there, I do think that at the end of the day, the bill moves forward to ensure that it is less likely that those who intend to create chaos and harm can easily access a gun, whether it is a handgun or a long gun.
And last question, you've got the General Assembly till April 12th. What will be some of the top priorities we'll be hearing about in the next couple of weeks?
Well, without a doubt, and what I'm really proud of is that we were able to move forward the most important thing, which was getting relief to Marylanders who need it most, making sure that vulnerable Marylanders had access to the supports they need so that we can push through these next few months as vaccines are being distributed. That was the most important thing. It was the first thing. It was the first law that the General Assembly passed this year. And I'm very, very proud of the work that we did with the governor, with the House. It was incredibly important because at the end of the day, we're in a once in 100-year moment in time. And we have been able to accomplish getting this immediate relief. Just today, we released a package of bills that will deal with the longer-term impacts of this pandemic. Because unfortunately, while we may get through it, there will be impacts on the housing front, on the economic front, on the education front that will be with us for a while. And so we're going to be focused on COVID-19 recovery, making sure that we can turn our economy back on when we can do so safely, and make sure that we are prepared in the case that we have another event, anything like this, that we learn the lessons of this experience to make sure that we're better prepared for the next series of challenges ahead. The other big issue that we're going to deal with, and it's a controversial one, but I think over the summer we saw the impact of what happens when people do not feel that the laws are being applied equally. And this has to do with police reform. This is really hard and challenging and difficult and emotional work. But what we saw this summer across the state of Maryland, in our urban centers, our suburban, and our rural areas, was this deep challenge to the social contract when there is a sense that the laws are not applied equitably across different communities. So what we'll be doing this year is moving forward a package that will be thoughtful, it will be intentional. We want to hear from all stakeholders so that we can really, truly restore trust and accountability and transparency between law enforcement and the communities that they serve. We believe that we can get this done. It's going to be a challenge, but we have to get this right because it doesn't work in the long run if we don't restore faith in the social contract about people truly feeling safe and that law enforcement has the confidence of the people that they serve.
All right, Maryland State Senator Bill Ferguson, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Stay safe, wear your mask, and please get your vaccine when you are eligible.
Coming up, we'll hear from our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rashad Hudson on what we can expect on raising the minimum wage and next week's House vote on COVID relief. The latest at the Capitol right after this.